Hello, my name is David Tavares. I'm a game designer and Unreal Engine 5 professional. Recently, CD Projekt Red came out with several videos deep diving into what their strategy is going to be for the future. I'm a big fan of theirs. So this is the second video in a series of four reflecting my reactions and basically a general review of what they're saying. This video will be that I'm reviewing today is game development and technology. So let's check it out.
Hi, my name is Paweł Zawodny. I'm a board member at CD Projekt, responsible for the technological and organizational transformation of the CD Projekt Red studio.
I'm Piotr Karwowski. My responsibilities as a member of the board include oversight of group's activities related to online services and UX.
Last year, I announced that we want to approach the game dev process in a more proactive and forward-looking way, and so we would like to tell you how we currently go about developing games.
In addition to creating unforgettable storylines, which serve as the foundation of our games, we are especially focused on delivering excellent user experience. Thus, we want to pay attention to how gamers experience our games and the stories we tell. In other words, we want to take a closer look at our games through the gamer's eyes. How do we achieve this? First, good user experience begins at the design stage. That's why we continue to improve our design processes, taking into account not only artistic and functional requirements, but also putting gamers front and
All right, so let's review what we've seen there. I mean, all they've said is they want to make really good games, and they want to figure out ways of doing that better, and they believe they've got a strategy for that. So visually, I'm seeing animation. I'm seeing the sculpting of probably what they're going to use as the base for maybe models for assets. And then you see play testing, some actual playing of the game. I'd imagine that's probably for mostly for QA purposes, not necessarily well, maybe some gameplay experience. You know, like trying to walk through the experience to see what it's going to be like. Yeah, I mean, everything that goes into making a game will eventually result in a user experience of one type or another. So you really have to look at all aspects if you're trying to give a better user experience. And of course, there's the end motivation of having a great game. You know, like if the user experience is terrible, then the game's terrible. I mean, there's a direct correlation there. So let's see if he has more on the strategy.
center. I'm referring to aspects such as usability and accessibility, but also to how players interact with the game, or even the emotions gamers feel when experiencing our products. All of those also help us deliver our artistic and gameplay vision. Secondly, user experience also calls for ongoing research. That begins at the very outset of creation process and is then iterated on the basis of gathered data and the conclusions we draw. This is why we are building a state-of-the-art usability lab, which will be put into action during development of our games.
Interesting, a usability lab during the development. So I'm wondering if that's just because he mentioned accessibility and usability. And this line right here, owing a wide range of biometric technologies. By accessibility, I believe that both means different abilities for people, differently abled people, and a wide range of sets and cultures to be broad to, but also to deliver to people who might not necessarily like a type of game or something like that, to maybe give them something that they like. I'd imagine there's a very broad, general use of that term is what I'm saying. Owning a wide range of biometric technologies. Yeah, so they're utilizing technology to its maximum potential, which going to Unreal Engine 5, that's a great way to do it, especially since Epic Games is also doing that with photogrammetry and all the other technologies that they're buying up and collaborating with. So it's a good partnership there. Let's see what else he has to say.
Owing to a wide range of biometric technologies, we will be able to see how players experience and interact with our games and learn what they think of each and every part of them. All of this while the development process is ongoing. The main goal is to acknowledge, in addition to our creative outlook, the way gamers perceive our games through the prism of their personal experiences, skills, and expectations. Making this happen calls for a stable, always working game, which we can achieve by following good engineering practices.
One example of this approach is the always working game rule, which we follow, and which is also known in agile methodologies. It enables us to iterate and address various project risks at an early stage of development. Owing to the interdisciplinary character of our teams, we now enjoy a broader perspective, and individual aspects of the production process may proceed in parallel without undue hassle.
So he mentions the agile method of production and development. So previously, from what I understand, CD Projekt Red was blaming a lot of their failures with, say, getting Cyberpunk out, Cyberpunk 2077, and why it was in such a buggy state with their process. They weren't really working with an agile methodology. I think, don't hold me to this, it was a different methodology, but I think it was a waterfall strategy, where you do one step and then you waterfall to the next step, that kind of thing. That's an oversimplification, but agile is used in software development, and is thought of as, well, as the name describes it, more agile. You can pivot, you can change things quickly. You don't have to wait for the next step. You can, so it's really good that they're looking at that, and especially now that they're trying to do parallel development. That's going to be interesting seeing, because it's going to be each development of the agile methodology is going to be done in parallel, not just a single methodology, a single use of the methodology, that is, all around, although they could apply it at different levels in like a hierarchy of the CD Projekt Red as a whole, each sub studio, and them reporting factors. I'm just worried about how complicated it gets, because yeah, I don't know, we'll see how it works. Maybe I can help out.
Building complete gameplay features from the ground up by composing aspects such as control, animation, or UI enables us to test them thoroughly and iterate upon them many times over. A major risk encountered in the development process relates to stability and performance on all target platforms. The always working game rule also applies in this context. We test gameplay quality on every platform from the get-go and do not focus only on the development.
All right, I think they mentioned that specifically because I don't think that they were testing on every platform for Cyberpunk 2077. That's how you ended up with like the last gen stuff, like not even working at all. It has to be, everything's got to be done in parallel when it comes to testing. I do it with my own indie games. As soon as I can actually build cut a version of it, I do, and I see how it actually works, and immediately I notice that it doesn't work anything like it works in Engine, and there's a lot of things that I have to account for. And you got to try it on every single platform, and every, let's say, operating system or whatever. There's a large range that goes into QA to make sure that things are working. And sometimes it actually helps to catch a bug in some like weird edge case, and then you realize that your performance goes up in places that where you didn't catch the bug. So it's overall a good thing.
Developer's PC build. Of course, this makes early stages of the creation process a bit more tedious, but it also gives us greater control and confidence at later stages. Our collaboration with Epic.
Tedious is one way to put it, but it also builds a lot of confidence. It helps you understand the systems better. I've built systems that I don't actually understand until after I QA and do the bug testing, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to work that way. I had this idea early on in the development, but just seeing the bugs helps you understand what's actually happening behind the scenes, when it's not just the code, where it's actually, actually everything interacting and what's going on, which I guess is the code, but you know what I mean.
Games is an integral part of our technological and organizational transformation. I would like to emphasize that it's far broader in scope than a simple single licensing deal. We have entered into a strategic partnership where both parties can benefit from persistent exchange of experiences and ideas between our teams. For our part, we provide a lot of know-how.
Did I miss what he said? Let me go back here.
Strategic partnership where both
Partnership with who?
Organizational transformation. I would like to emphasize that it's far broader in scope than a simple single licensing deal. We have entered into a strategic
talking about
partnership
Epic Games?
where both parties can benefit from persistent exchange of experiences and ideas between our teams. For our part,
Maybe I didn't go back far
I
enough.
would like to emphasize that it's far at later stages. Our collaboration with Epic
Yes,
Games
how did
is
I
an
miss that?
integral
I
part
talked
of
over it, I
our
bet.
technological and organizational transformation. I would like to emphasize that it's far broader in scope than a simple single licensing deal. We have entered into a strategic partnership where both parties can benefit from persistent exchange of experiences and ideas between our teams. For our part, we provide a lot of know-how related to developing complex open-world games.
Yes, and please allow new to AAA development developers such as myself in into the family. I don't just speak for myself, I speak for everyone who's in my position. Unreal Engine 5 professionals who love making narrative driven games, who love RPGs, who have played a lot of your CD Projekt Red games, in fact, and love them as well. Uh, we would like to work with you. Hopefully, you understand this.
As for Epic, they continue to develop the engine in order to match our expectations.
Epic is great to work with. I have been in constant communication with televangelist, North American televangelist, Christian Allen. Great guy. He puts on great events. Recently went to the PAX West Mixer. And I've communicated with a lot of people over at Epic Games, and they're always helpful, and they always try to make things better. They try to democratize game development, and they always want to improve. There's no, not a single slouch among them. They're all great experts who always want the best and demand excellence and want to share what they have with the world. So I love this partnership. One of the best game development companies partnering with the best engine development company. It's just the best of all worlds, and I really, really have high hopes for this partnership.
Migrating to Unreal Engine 5 opens new possibilities and brings a range of advantages. In technical terms, the new engine streamlines the game creation process by simplifying development work. In other words, it enables our
I like how they show just opening up a new project here. This is like the basic Unreal Engine 5 level, just like throws in some extra stuff for you, like this landscape and a sky, stuff like that. Um, but it emphasizes what he's saying is that it helps what they're doing already. You don't need to recreate reinvent the wheel every time. You can just this is a great solid engine. It's trying to do basically everything that CD Projekt Red would want to do, um, and giving like 5% of whatever the game is, because it's going to be over $1 million. That's the threshold for Epic Games. If it's over $1 million, 5% you pay to them. That's actually a pretty small price to pay. And that's just the general thing. They might do a special deal since they're partnering and working together where it's even less. So I don't know how much exactly they're paying them. It's going to be a lot of money, but it's also mutually beneficial for both companies.
developers to create immersive adventures in an iterative, organized, and intuitive way. UE5 also includes many innovative technologies which support even more realistic and attractive visuals. We want to
Very
draw
strong.
upon these capabilities in our games and keep developing them further. Relying on Unreal Engine as a stable foundation is also a major step towards effective development of multiple games at the same time. This year, we've already begun parallel work on 2 AAA projects, and in the future, we will want to run even more parallel development pipelines. Given the challenge
Wait, I didn't catch that earlier. In the future, they want more parallel development pipelines. I think they're at 6. After this announcement, it's 6. So they want to make more than 6 games at the same time. That's it. People were thinking the 6 games at the same time was ambitious. More than 6. That's ambitious. Let's see what happens here.
is involved, the technological layer becomes especially important, which further underscores the importance of our collaboration.
Wait. Now I just realized that makes CD Projekt Red isn't really a studio at this point. This is the transition into them becoming like a game development empire. Like huge I don't know, Nintendo, they make a whole bunch of games under them. Like this is I don't know. it's going to be amazing, whatever they're developing up to. This is a interesting juncture in the evolution of CD Projekt Red.
With Epic Games. Just because we are using Unreal Engine does not mean we no longer invest in technologies. We need to create systems to power our games, which also involves adaptation and optimization of the engine's components to better suit our creative assumptions. Based on our experience with past large-scale story-driven open-world RPGs, as well as on what we have been able to achieve with Red Engine, we are enriching UE5 with tools.
All right, so right now you're seeing renders in Red Engine of Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Compare this visual that you're seeing here with Quixel Megascans, which is a company that was acquired by Epic Games, made in Unreal Engine 4, and you can import it to Unreal Engine 5. It works as well. I think it's called the Medieval Sample Environment or something close to that. I actually did a video using their medieval sample environment to say like what Witcher 5 could look like, or Witcher 4 in Unreal Engine 5 could look like in Unreal Engine 5. And it's phenomenal. It's just so much like it Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt is gorgeous, but like it's just a whole nother level when you see what they do with Quixel Megascans, and they try to make it look a lot like it was obviously inspired by Witcher. They were trying to get their attention, being like, look how cool it could look. Look at this such an upgrade, and it worked. Apparently, CD Projekt Red was like, yeah, that does look better. Why are we doing all this work and spending all this money when we could just use your product and work with you?
Which enable creation of high-quality content. The goal here is to ensure that such tools fit in with the specific nature of our studio and the games we intend to develop. A good example is provided by systems which enable development of narrative aspects, including quests. In addition to our experience from past projects,
I have a lot of experience in developing quests for my games. I also have a lot of experience like developing quests for not video games, for TTRPGs, since I've been playing those games since the 90s. And I have a lot of experience, with the people that I coordinate events with at Gen Con, LLC, and stuff like that. It's something that I hope to do in the future for a big game. That would be super cool to just be even a low-level quest designer at some point. We'll see where that goes.
we also have great new ideas on how to improve them even further and then leverage them as our competitive advantage. This also applies to the game world creation process. The world needs to be immersive and vast, but also content-rich, detailed, and great-looking.
That is something that Epic Games has been pressing a lot. World building, they call it. In fact, at this very moment, they're running what's known as the Creep It Real challenge, where you're supposed to make like a creepy story since it's October at the time of this filming. But the core hook to it is that it's about world building. So it's about like doing a tight scene like this. That here's Kelly Eurodyne with I forget this other band what their name was. This is a really cool quest. I really liked this in Cyberpunk 2077. But I mean, look at all you can get from just this one image. Like obviously there's all these people cheering them on. There are obviously some sort of celebrities or something like that, even if you didn't know who they were. And yeah, I mean, this even as a still image that I've got paused, this tells a lot about this world. It's futuristic. People hold celebrity in high regards. There's people like videoing them with their devices, which I'm not even sure they need devices in Cyberpunk 2077. That should be all built into their head, right? Yeah, this is really cool. It's a swanky like club. There's like seating and stuff in the back. Like I would love to create a scene like this in Unreal Engine 5. This is beautiful.
When working on a large-scale project, creating, maintaining, and managing such content calls for appropriate methodologies and tools.
Working on our tools and systems also presents an ideal opportunity to adapt them to creating games with online elements. Part of our DNA is to create ambitious stories and worlds, and we believe that these can become even more impactful and memorable when experienced with another person. Migrating to Unreal Engine also helps us lay the technological groundwork for online components for our future games. The engine, produced by Epic Games, has since its inception been developed with online and multiplayer gaming.
You see, they keep on talking about the engine so much, and I love that because I love Unreal Engine. I love Epic Games. I love Unreal Engine. They are right. Unreal Engine is sort of that's something that's very hard to get. Is something that has got a nice core of multiplayer, but they've shown time and time again. I mean, starting with Fortnite and then all the other games that have come out since then that were built in Unreal Engine, multiplayer their multiplayer system works. It's a hard thing to get right, and they've got it down pat. So it's like, why try this very difficult venture of getting multiplayer right when you can just use this engine and get the exact same uh idea of game that you were trying to make happen, like make it real. It comes in a pre-built package. It's not like the multiple players changes like build the different way you build a multiplayer system doesn't necessarily change the game itself. Just make the game and make sure that they can get on and play. Multiplayer just means multiple people playing, so make it so.
In mind. The process of replication, that is synchronization of the game state between players, is an integral part of Unreal Engine.
Synchronization of the game state between players. So in Unreal Engine, you have to like replicate things because what you see on one computer has to match what it sees on the other computer, assuming that like it's supposed to. Like if I virtually have this coffee mug in front of me and the other player walks in the room, in the virtual room, there should be a coffee mug there. Just because I placed it down here, if my computer didn't tell their computer that I put a coffee mug there, they're not going to see a coffee mug. It's got to replicate objects. So that's why they're talking about like synchronization, or like even just like a character walking into a room, the other character's got to see them too. Make sure they understand what happens. When there's not good replication, you end up with like an easy example of this is like first person shooters is just like, wait, who shot me? How'd I die? I didn't even hear a bang. What's going on? Why am I dead? That kind of thing. You need good synchronization. That of course is also lag based and stuff like that. But if things don't replicate, then you won't even see it.
Architecture. Both aspects provide us with a solid foundation on which to develop single-player games as well as games which include online components.
It goes without saying that human talent is crucial.
Mhm.
In future years, we intend to keep expanding our team. Adapting Unreal Engine also plays a role here, given its effect on our recruitment capability.
So that they were showing people fighting there, probably doing some mocaps or even just figuring out how systems can work, because sometimes you just have to look at real life, and even if you need motion, obviously those probably more of a mocap thing, but there are other uses for having people act out like that. There was also, what was right before that? There was something cool. I think it might have been music on the screen. I mean, they had this. Well, they show all these people. I mean, these are just the talented individuals that need to come together and make a great studio like CD Projekt Red. That's awesome. I hope to be one of them one day. We'll see.
In future years, we intend to keep expanding our team. Adapting Unreal Engine also plays a role here, given its effect on our recruitment capability. We are on the lookout for developers who wish to join and bring their ambitious ideas to life.
I have many ambitious ideas. I will even hold back and restrain myself to only what is capable at the time. I'm not gonna unload unless you directly ask me to. At least I'm going to try not to unload. I might. No
Onboarding
promises.
such specialists becomes more efficient when using UE5 as compared to a closed internal technology stack. With talented
Yes, absolutely. When you have a closed internal technology staff, who are you gonna hire? You just be like, I need an expert in I think the proprietary technology we made. Well, you have them all hired because those are the only people that know it. Unreal Engine 5 is great because you can learn it externally, like I have. So call me, and by call me, I mean email me. I'll put it in the description below, right here.
passionate people and access to cutting-edge technology, we are able to effectively and boldly pursue our mission, creating amazing games that enrich people's lives with emotionally resonating stories. Our games will perform better.
Honestly, that's very important. Enriching people's lives with emotionally resonating stories, that's I mean, the way I look at it, there's two major reasons for gaming: just unwinding and just blowing stuff up or jumping on things or whatever. That's fine. But I think the other great thing, which is kind of like why a lot of people watch like movies or read novels or something like that, is to get a piece of the human experience, to expand upon it, to really think deeply and feel deeply too, emotionally about something, and connecting with something, a common experience, um, to just broaden your horizons, realize that humanity is just one giant community, to have thought experiments. Like there's so many different ways, so many different levels, so many different types, so many different tiers of stories that could be told and things that we relate to. And video games is such a unique media because you get to interact and you can have different ways of doing it. These are things that generally, like books try to do it with choose your own adventures, but people also find choose your adventures a little gaudy. It's very difficult to do with a movie, but with a game, it just seems natural to have this nice, um, uh, versatile, um, method where people feel they have agency. Player choice is often what's thrown around, um, and can feel out a story, make it their own, at the same time, appreciating the story being told by the writers, authors, developers. And I think it's hugely important that games have become something that's nerdy and something that's not mainstream to something that's mainstream and appreciated as art.
Better, and thanks to fluid gameplay and polished details,
Mhm.
gamers will be able to more fully experience the stories we wish to.
That's a good point. Realism, I think, makes people take gaming more seriously. Not that all games have to be realistic, but the fact that it can get to that point. People see a movie and they see a person on the screen. That lets them take it seriously and like relate to it immediately. We're pushing right beyond the uncanny valley at this point with how realistic we can get with our technologies. So um, we are in a new age, and I love it.
To tell.
And that's the end. All right. Thank you. Again, my name's David Tavares. I am an Unreal Engine 5 professional, and thank you for listening. Goodbye.